Hey guys, so this section is going to be about email marketing. I'm going to talk about three things. The first thing is the flows, second thing is templates, third thing is segmentation. Actually, no, four things, and then campaigns. Campaigns is sort of all related to that, but yes, four things that we will discuss. So let's get into it. So the first thing, flows. What are flows? Why do we need them? And what are you talking about? So essentially what a flow is, very simple. It is an automated series of emails that goes out to people based on an action they have taken. So for example, if I abandoned cart, I'm going to get automated emails that say, hey, wait a minute, don't forget your purchase, make sure to buy, here's a discount. Welcome series, right? If I sign up for something, I'm going to get a list of emails, right? This is so that we don't have to check the customers and then, send me emails that, nope, it's just going to automatically be run for us, nice and easy. And the good news is all we have to do is set it up once. So let's get into it. So essentially, very simple and straightforward. We obviously want to trigger. So what's our first, welcome series? So that is when somebody signs up to the newsletter, right? Which is a pop-up. We'll go over that as well. So maybe 5 things. We'll keep adding things until we can't add them anymore. So the welcome series, email number 1. So let's view that, right? So preview. Essentially how we want to look at this. So basically, again, very simple, straightforward. Hey, person, we're glad you're here. Hello is the code we want them to use, right? I like to keep mine very simple, very basic. Some brands like to be sort of above and beyond with, hey, this is what we're all about. You'll understand why after you see the rest, why we're not like that. But essentially, a picture, hey, you're in, thanks for coming, we're excited, right? Keep it simple. The second email, so they're gonna wait a day, okay? Why are they gonna wait a day? Well, we just emailed them. Let's give them a minute to get used to the brand. They just subscribed. We don't wanna bombard them. Let's allow them to take their time. However, we wanna stay on top of them, right? So the next thing is we are going to send them another email number 2. And this is gonna be a little similar, join our amazing community on social media. Remember to claim the code HELLO. So we're basically showing them new products. We're keeping it very simple. We have our, let me move my face. We have our social links here, and we're still sending them to the shop page, right? Again, these are very simple and very straightforward. You may want yours to be more advanced. I just want to show you the overview and which we want to give. So then the third one, let's see. We've given you another day to wait. And so now we want to talk about our why, right? And so learn about us, and we want you to become a critical part of our community. We are excited to have you here. We have our brand message on every single one of these, and we have our socials on every single one of these, right? And so we don't mention the code again. We don't want to shove it down your throat. We just want to get you to a point where, hey, you can understand what we're all about, why we want you, and hey, come on down, right? And so again, less focused on the content in the emails and the way it's structured, more focused on, hey, make sure that you put something in. What I just showed you guys is the bare minimum, right? Your flows cannot be more simple than that, and I'm going to tell you why. Number 1, people need to be able to see an image and a button and a description, right? Those 3 things have to be done. If you want your flows to be more complex than that, I encourage you to do so. The reason at Habits we keep it very simple is because we want them to go to the site because there's so much on there, right? We have our product photos, we have our whole bunch of shopping items. We don't want them to spend too much time on there. We want them to take quick action. That's why it's so simple and straightforward. Some people have different philosophies where they say, hey, no, have a really in-depth flow. And that's fine. I don't fight that. I don't argue with that because it's just a different philosophy. So I don't want to try the AI tools. Thank you, though. So this is our first flow, right? We want to make sure these are all live. We want to make sure they're waiting a day. And here are different triggers and things that we can set up. The good news is with Klaviyo, they will allow you to they'll guide you in the setup, okay? The next one, abandoned cart. Let's check that one out. So here we want to be a little quicker, right? We don't want to take so long. Why? Well, someone just checked out or almost checked out, but they didn't actually quite finish the job. We want to stay on top of them, and we want to give them a reason to finish, get over the goal line. And so we're going to wait 30 minutes, and then we're going to send an email that says, thanks for stopping by. We still saved your items, claim 15%, use this code, save today. So boom, when you click it, you're going to go to where your item was earlier. And then we're going to give them 6 hours. We're going to give them half a day or half a, daytime period to look it over and think about it. And then, hey guys, this is your last chance. Be careful not to miss out. The reason we don't have images in here, it actually auto-populates an item. You don't see it right now, but make sure that it's there. If you do the standard format with Klaviyo, they will allow you that. And so last chance, day 15, right? We want to give them a discount so that they can really get over the hump. But then after that, we've either got them or, hey, maybe another time. But that's essentially the structure. Again, I'm really going over structure, not so much content with these right now. And then the last two, customer thank you, right? When someone actually purchases, they got the job done. We want to thank them. We want to appreciate them and show them our gratitude. Hey, thank you for being part of our brand. And so we're going to give them a discount for their next purchase. We'll also send them a little welcome card in our package, which we'll talk about later. But essentially, or earlier, depending on where you're at in the course. But essentially, we want to say, hey, thank you guys. We want to address you. If you'd like anything from us, let us know. We're here. We appreciate, we're excited to be part of your community. Again, very general, very straightforward, but that's how we like to do it. And then if they buy again, which, hey, the more the merrier, then we want to say, hey, you just made our day. Thank you so much, and really kind of the same process. And so that's essentially what we want to do. Some people may say, hey, I want a Discord group with all my customers. I want that. That's great too. And then the last flow, browse abandonment. This one's the most simple, right? Just 2 hours, right? Why? What's the point of this one? Well, they're looking on the site, but they haven't added to cart. They haven't checked out. So we want to, again, offer them another deal. Hey, guys, this is going to be an auto-populated item with some bestseller suggestions. Again, we like to keep these very simple. You see how they're all kind of the same format. They're all very similar in style. That's what we want to do for flows. These are a way to keep people in the door without having to constantly hawk them and go, get in here, get in there, get it right. It's just a way to keep the ball moving. So those are the flows. Now, let's move on to templates. This is honestly even more important. So what I want to go over with you guys is the templates library first, right? So for our emails, we want to make sure they're very branded, okay? There's a whole bunch of emails here that you guys can try out, and I think there's a lot of good options. I'll just show you a template that we made recently and kind of preview it. So essentially, again, kind of like I said for website, if you've gotten to that section yet, we want to view it on mobile, right? And so what I like to do is, this is pretty advanced, pretty in-depth, unlike the flows. This is a lot for campaigns. These will be used for campaigns, by the way, which we'll get to in a moment, but I like to be very in-depth with these. I want to have buttons all over the place. I want to have pictures all over the place. I want people to really be able to see what we're promoting them. This is a 3 product bestsellers. The subject line obviously will all be there, and it's like going back and forth. 3 products. 2, 3, whatever. 3 products. So you see how the GIF, whatever you want to call it. And essentially then for every email, we're going to use this template and whatnot. So I'll get there in a moment. But the first thing I want to also do, segments. Okay, this is so important, right? When we go to profiles. So what do we do instead? Well, we want to create segments. And so how do we do that? So we create a new segment. A list is a list of people, so we're not going to do that right now. We're going to do a segment, right? And so what we want to do is obviously we want to go in here, set the conditions, but I'll show you the segments that we've actually made. Most engaged, 60 days, 30 days, over $80 in the last 60 days, right? We've gone really in depth because we've been obviously doing this for a while. Most engaged 7 days, ambassadors, right? That's another situation. But essentially, we have a bunch of segments here that we want to use. These are what we have found to be the most helpful. And essentially, that is what I want you guys to do. What I want you guys to do is, if they opened an email, if they clicked an email, if they're engaged, right? That is really what I want you to do. And I'll kind of show you one segment example. So definition. So again, a little complex. Pause this and look at this because this is important. I want you guys to do this. For 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, eventually you'll be able to lower the number of days as the data increases, right? So if you have 100 people, you're going to really only go to 90 days. But if you have 500 people, 30 days might make sense because maybe a third of those people are within that time frame. So the more data we get, the more people we get, the smaller the time frame can be. So we can really target with precision, okay? So segments, super important. Now let's go to campaigns, the most fun. Oh, also, nope, I lied. Email and SMS, okay? Our pop-up is on a different app with SMS, which we'll go over at a different time. But essentially what we want to do is we want to create a sign-up form. And what we want to do is make sure we have a cool picture here, limited time offer, right? Something that's engaging. That is not our pop-up. You probably saw our pop-up earlier or later in the course, depending on where you are. No, probably earlier. And so essentially what we want to do is make sure we have one. Again, ours is on a different app, which I will explain later. But let's go to campaigns. So essentially what we want to do with campaigns is we want to go and we want to click create, okay? Email, we're not going to do SMS right now, we'll do that another time or on a different video. And we're going to send to, let's say I want to send to people who bought this item and, I don't know, people who, let's just say engaged in 30 days, right? Why not? Turn the skipped off, we don't need that. Tracking, doesn't matter, keep it on. And then what we're going to do is best sellers out now, right? We want to have an engaging item. I'm just making stuff up. And then we want to do drag and drop. Now, sometimes we'll do text-only emails. For right now, I would say stick to drag and drop. But here's the cool part. All we're going to do, we're not going to create anything. We're just going to click this template. We're going to use the template. If it's, new links or old links, whatever the case, we're just going to view it on mobile, swap it out. You're going to click save. And then what we're going to do, continue to review. We're going to send it out. We're going to schedule it, right? Schedule or send. We're always going to schedule. Don't ever send now because it's not going to have the outcome you think, where everyone gets it at once. No. When you can do a fixed send time, do it on Monday at 2:15 Eastern time. Beautiful. Or we can also do local time, right? So if you're in California, you're going to get it at 2:15 California time, and I'm going to get it at 2:15 New York time. However, we obviously have to schedule it in advance. If you schedule it the same day, it's going to be a mess, so don't do that. Please schedule emails at least 2 to 3 days in advance at the minimum. These are important. Now, I kind of went fast through the campaign. Why did I do that? Spencer, you didn't show us what we have to do. So let's go over the content, okay? So we're going to edit the email. We have a whole bunch of, let me move my face. We have a whole bunch to choose from here. We have text, we have images. Let's say, hey, you know what? I actually want to promote a different product, right? I want to promote this instead. Boom, replace, right? Easy, straightforward. Hey, I actually don't want to promote this product. Trash. I want to add a product instead, right? I want to add this one. Boom, right? And you know what? I want to be symmetrical. I want to add this one too. Boom, right? We can do all that we want on these, right? We can get away with whatever we want, right? As long as we're being consistent, as long as we're to the point, it works and it makes sense, right? And then again, view on mobile before sending, make sure it looks good, make sure it's aesthetically pleasing, and make sure it matches the brand vibe. Obviously, this is a dummy email, so I'm not going to actually send this out. But essentially, this is a super important part of your business. I want to make sure that you guys have good campaigns going out. I would say send between 6 to 8 campaigns a month in the beginning. Eventually, when you get the hang of it, you'll send, 25 campaigns a month, right? You'll be sending pretty regularly. And obviously, we want to make sure we get a good open rate. We have a lot of recipients, obviously, and whatnot. But we always want to do different types of emails. Some types of emails that we want to do, like a Mindful Monday, where it's a text-based email. Remember I said, hey, sometimes it'll be text-based. This is an example of like a text-based email, right? We give a little quote of the week. We have a challenge. We have a tip, right? You can do that, kind of an our story, but for the emails. But then we can also have our best sellers and our specials. You'll see in Bass a bunch, but I'll explain that later. But that's essentially what we want to do. We want to make sure we have a pop-up. We want to make sure we have flows. We want to make sure we have good templates. And then let's go ahead and send those campaigns. We'll be able to track the analytics and everything. These analytics, ignore these. We're undergoing a review on our page. Essentially, we are cleaning it out, right? Because you saw before, almost 200,000 profiles. Spoiler, not all these profiles open or buy, and so we want to clean them out, and so sometimes numbers will dip, and so that's okay. Don't worry about that. What we want to do is we want to make sure that every quarter, 3 months, about every quarter, anyone who hasn't opened an email in 180 days, get them out, because you're going to pay for them and it's not necessary. Anyone who hasn't clicked on an email in 90 days, also get them out. It's not worth it. They're not going to. And sometimes people just don't connect. The people that connect, you'll notice them and they'll be worth paying for. But otherwise, I would keep the list pretty selective, because we will always be adding new people and we'll be able to really engage with those who are interacting. Last thing, in terms of resources that we have, we are able to build flows for you, simple like Habits or complex like other companies. We're also able to create email templates for you and send out emails on the campaign side, as well as create the lists and segments and optimize them for your brand as well. If that's something of interest, if you'd like services that relate to email and SMS marketing, feel free to give us a shout in the contact us page. And I look forward to having you guys watch the next section. Thanks for watching.